closed session, please.
Madam Chair, I certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, the Williamsburg-James City County School Board, while in closed session, discussed only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements as stated in Virginia law, and that only such public matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
Thank you, Mrs. Chen. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hundley. Mrs. Aller?
Ms. Chen,
Aye.
Mr. Hodges,
Aye.
Mr. Hosang,
Aye.
Mrs. Hundley,
Aye.
Mr. Riffle,
Aye.
Dr. Cavazos,
Aye.
Mrs. Donner.
Aye. May I have a member approve the agenda? Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Hosang. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. Ms. Aller?
Mr. Hosang,
Aye.
Mrs. Hundley,
Aye.
Mr. Riffle,
Aye.
Dr. Cavazos,
Aye.
Ms. Chen,
Aye.
Mr. Hodges,
Aye.
Mrs. Donner.
Aye. Mr. Hodges, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance? All of those who can stand, please do so.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I ask that you remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. We will now move to item 4.01, announcements in the superintendent's report. Dr. Kiefer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, school board members, members of the community here joining us. The report this evening starts off with an event that happened in early March. Retired Admiral Sam Cox visited Lafayette High School and provided our students with very specific information on his 37-year career in the United States Navy. Students were able to ask thoughtful questions about modern warfare, social media's impact on the military, and leadership lessons across his career. We appreciate Admiral Cox and his visit, helping us to, as educators, connect classroom learning with real-world leadership and service. In addition, this evening, I wanted to mention a supply drive in partnership with the Williamsburg House of Mercy, helping us fill 600 backpacks with school supplies for WJCC students. That is going on now through March 31st. Bring new backpacks and essential supplies, notebooks, folders, crayons, glue stick, pencils to House of Mercy. If you prefer to shop online, which many of us do, look on the website for a link to Amazon. I recognize that Amazon's a new phenomenon, but I do encourage you to check that out. Your donations can be delivered directly to House of Mercy. Thank you for making a meaningful difference for our students. Battle of the Books. We've talked a lot about literacy as a school division, and I wanted to share that teams from across WJCC schools and Greater Williamsburg recently competed in the Battle of Books. Students read a series of books and answered on-the-spot questions against other teams. It's an excellent experience for all of the teams involved. Special congratulations to the Spiders of James Miller Middle School. The Spiders qualified for regionals following their Williamsburg area win. We had a wonderful celebration of students, families, and community at our Family Festival Day, sponsored by the Parent Resource Center and Special Education Advisory Committee of WJCC. Participants engaged in fun activities and learned many and a variety of resources available in our community. Thanks to all of the partners who volunteered their time to help us build connections with families and make the event a tremendous success. And finally, I want to end on spring activities. Warmer weather brings opportunities to support our students and engage in activities across our broader community. We encourage you to support our performing arts program by attending an upcoming musical event. We ask you that you review the Bay Rivers calendar and cheer on our student athletes as they are competing. Calendars for all of those events are available on our website. And beyond that, it's just a great time to be outside and enjoy longer daylight hours and comfortable weather. This particular community has incredible things to offer, so I encourage you to get outside. Madam Chair, that's it for my report this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Kiefer. Mr. Hodges, I believe you have a report.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. On Thursday, March 19th, Ms. Chin and I attended a meeting of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council at Jamestown High School. The meeting began with an exercise in which the students went around and named things that had them excited for the spring. This included things like school musicals, spring sporting events, and, unsurprisingly, spring break. Next, Dr. Keever led the students in an exercise in thanking the passer, where they wrote thank you notes to 3 people in the school division who have helped, inspired, or supported them. They then gave those notes to Dr. Keever to ensure that they reached their intended recipients. Following those exercises, Dr. Keever gave a presentation about feedback received from the Student Voices Tour. This presentation gave way to conversations about some of the findings, and I'll highlight a few key takeaways. Number 1, the students recognize that there is work to be done to improve student-to-student respect in our schools. Number 2, students emphasize their desire to have more projects and real-world demonstrations of knowledge in lieu of tests. Number 3, students express strong concerns with AI usage and implementation in schools by both teachers and students alike. Number 4, students voice the need for more robust and comprehensive financial literacy coursework that will help provide them with practical skills for things like paying taxes and budgeting. And finally, students want to see us improve and promote student leadership activities in our schools. And finally, Dr. Keever and the students engaged in a lengthy Q&A session that featured robust discussions about things like reducing the percentage of a student's overall grade from tests, considerations about making adjustments to the academic calendar to account for weather closures, and a broader discussion about how weather closures are determined, and fairness around the tardy policy and whether or not our school start times should be adjusted. There's a lot to ponder there, Madam Chair, and I look forward to hearing more of those discussions in the future. And with that, I conclude my remarks, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hodges. Ms. Chen.
Sure. Thank you in advance for your patience. I have 2 reports, one from the Student Advisory, Special Education Advisory Committee, which is SEAC. So our SEAC committee and our Special Education Department hosted, as was mentioned earlier by Dr. Keever, hosted our annual Family Fun Festival with 100 participants along with numerous vendors. There were nearly 30 volunteers from our SEAC supporting the event, so a huge, huge thank you. 3 new organizations joined this year: the Virginia Down Syndrome Association, Best Buddies, and Virginia Peninsula Community College was represented. We always look forward to this fun and informative event every year for our students and families. Our Special Education Department and our SEAC are busy preparing for the next big event, which is going to be an inaugural event happening on May 2nd. It will be our first for the division and includes surrounding divisions and collaboration. What am I talking about? I'm talking about our Special Education Transition Expo, and this will be supports and programming for students transitioning preschool all the way through high school and then into adulthood. So if any of you have any interest in that, please help us spread the word. That will be May 2nd. It is to help support our youngest to our oldest learners. And parents can attend breakout sessions to learn more about and support programming for the different age groups. There will be representation from the ARC of Greater Williamsburg and its services, and many, many other organizations will be represented. SEAC continues to work on specific action steps to support the overarching goal of inclusion, family engagement, and student outcomes. Examples of action steps include the exploration of a Best Buddies program to start in WJCC, and the addition of a student representative within the SEAC bylaws. Additionally, SEAC was supportive of the 26-27 Special Education Annual Plan, along with the executive summary provided by Ms. Cruz. I believe that's one of our action items tonight. So just letting you know, SEAC was reviewed and very supportive of that. And that concludes my SEAC report. I have a much shorter Schools Foundation report, but just wanted to give a shout out to 3 incredible WJCC teachers. Mrs. Hunley and I had the privilege of attending a donor appreciation event that was hosted by Schools Foundation. And these 3 WJCC teachers, Jordan Staley, Monique Finner, and Catherine Boyer, shared how the Schools Foundation's grants have really helped to support their teaching as well as bringing in lots of innovation. So just to give us some examples and inspiration, of how these grants are being used. Jordan Staley shared he has guitars, drums, and DJ equipment. And Monique Finner shared about how she works with visually impaired students. And she has purchased braillers and low vision goggles to support student learning. And Catherine Boyer, an English and journalism teacher at Lafayette High School, has purchased software, supplies, and equipment to support her journalism students so they can publish professional quality news for the school. So just many thanks, and we are very grateful to the school's foundation as they continue to expand and support our teachers and students. And that's it.
Great, thank you so much, Ms. Chen. Mr. Riffle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I attended the WHRO Education Advisory Committee on March 18th with Dr. Keever. I chaired the committee for the first time, which was fun. Our WHRO typically does a spotlight presentation from something in our community. WHRO chose to spotlight their own student competitions in the hopes that we get more students to apply in the moving future. So for reference, we have 3 major competitions with WHRO. It's the Spelling Bee, which is put on by PBS and their great newscast there. It's actually the Town Bank Spelling Bee for branding. We also have the Great Computer Challenge, which was actually postponed or actually canceled this year for the events at ODU. But it's something they do annually every year, and our WGCC has had a large teams compete at both the middle school, high school, and elementary levels. And then PBS has a Kids Writers Contest, which is the one that's publicly broadcasted across the U.S. It's a lot of Virginians participate, and our students are recognized in that. So they wanted to mention those things and hopefully to garner more participation and kind of talk about their programs that they put on and what our school systems help facilitate as we pay our dues to WHRO to put on some of the work they do, like eMedia VA, which is like a classroom tool that teachers can use to look up lessons and as well visual aids through their learning and presentations in class for reviewing for the SOL. So a fun fact that I learned during the Education Services report was that second graders must know 27 historical figures for their SOL, which is something that I did not know, and that's a lot of historical figures. Also, WHRO does public media. As we kind of can see, there's more journalists out there from the WHRO realm. The General Assembly understood this, and they actually may be reducing funding for public media for WHRO because they're trying to expand public media. So it's kind of a conflict. They wanted us to mention it, something we care about here on the Peninsula. Not enough reporters, not enough people talking about the work they're doing, which also means they would have to reduce some of the work they do for eMedia VA. So hoping it's kind of worked out up in the state level, but I wanted to mention it as a precaution because it's such good work they do for the whole state, not just for our region. And then moving into the next meeting, we understood that there'll be new board members. So WHRO's Education Advisory Committee oversees the WHRO normal board and their commission. And so we actually approved their new board members in the next meeting, so they wanted to mention that that's something coming up. They also did a revenue report, which was they raised $2.8 million to cover a $1.5 million deficit from the federal government. And then they're in a healthy position not to lay off any employees or reporters or things that their normal services do. So, but they do have enough to maintain and keep moving and to, kind of have meetings and keep things moving. So we're excited. WHRO does great work in our community here in the Peninsula, but also down the south side and on the eastern shore. So it's just good to be a part of it. We are looking to potentially do an all call to all members because there was a little bit of a less of attendance from the other 21 partnering divisions. Hope that they attend and make it a priority to vote for the next board members of WHRO. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Riffle. Any other reports from board members? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We'll move on to 5.01, students and staff recognition. Mrs. Hunley, would you mind joining me?
Good evening, Madam Chair. Tonight, we're excited to recognize several teachers for their hard work and dedication to lifelong learning and continuous improvement. These individuals have either newly achieved or renewed their status as National Board Certified Teachers, or NBC. Before we share more about this recognition, I'd like to invite our NBC teachers forward. Teachers who have achieved the board certification are Katie Cole from Matthew Whaley, We're going to hold the applause until we laid all the first list, and then I'll lead the applause just to keep it moving. We got Linda DeBerry from DJ Montague. Carrie Isaacson from Laurel Lane. Mary McAlvery from Berkeley. Jennifer Smith from James River. We can clap for this group as they come up. These are the folks that have achieved the board certification. We also have another group coming up of teachers who have remained. We'll ask others to remain on stage, but please remain on stage. And as I now call up teachers who have renewed their board certifications, we got Brig Lampert from Jamestown. I don't know if they're here today. And then Harvey Stone from Jamestown. And we'll give them a quick round of applause as well. National Board Certification is a highly respected professional certification in the field of education. The outstanding teachers standing before you have completed a rigorous one-year process to examine, document, and reflect upon their teaching practice and student learning. The process also includes an assessment to demonstrate depth of content, knowledge, and pedagogy within their specialty. Congratulations to each of these outstanding teachers. All right, our next group of honorees are from Jamestown, and each represent excellence in their area of expertise and professional calling. As I call the next four honorees, I ask you to remain on stage all together. Our first is Alin Parm, Virginia Educators Association Teacher Excellence Award recipient. That's a very long award. We'll give her a quick little applause as we run through. The Excellence in Teaching Award is the highest honor VEA gives, recognizing instructors' creativity, excellence in the classroom. Ms. Parham has consistently demonstrated a remarkable ability to inspire her students, foster a love of learning, and create an inclusive and engaging classroom environment. Her dedication not only elevates her teaching success, our students' success, but also strengthens her entire school community. Next, Mark Tompkinson, Virginia and Section 2 Track and Field Coach of the Year. Let's give him an applause here. Yeah. This recognition is from the National Federation of High School Associations, honoring a coach who goes above and beyond and exemplifies the highest standard of sportsmanship, ethical conduct, and moral character. Coach Tompkinson has consistently demonstrated outstanding leadership and a commitment to developing not only successful athletes, but also well-rounded individuals. His efforts were recognized statewide as a Section 2, a region comprising of 7 states. So congratulations. Our next, returning to the stage, Mr. Harvey Stone, Virginia Association of Forensics Theater and Debate Coaches 2025 Theater Teacher of the Year. Congratulations. I feel like you come on stage a lot, Mr. Stone, from your occupation. And the Virginia Association of Forensic Theater and Debate Coaches recognizes an educator who demonstrates exceptional creativity, leadership, and dedication to theater education. Through a passion for the arts and commitment to student growth, Mr. Stone has made a lasting impact on both the stage and in the classroom. His work continues to inspire students to build confidence and express themselves beyond theatrical production. And finally, Chantel Cook, 2026 Outstanding High School Assistant Principal of Virginia. That's crazy. Yeah, let's give her a big one. She was named the 2026 Outstanding High School Assistant Principal of Virginia by the Virginia Association of Secondary School Principals. Dr. Cook demonstrates exemplary leadership, elevates student success, and strengthens school culture across the Commonwealth. Dr. Cook is widely recognized for her commitment in supporting both students and staff, fostering a positive and collaborative environment where everyone is empowered to succeed. Let's give her one more big round of applause. Our last recognition tonight is for Mr. Howard Townsend, and he was named Administrator of the Year by Virginia's Thespian Festival. Mr. Townsend. Oh, wonderful entrance. This prestigious Virginia Thespian Administrator of the Year Award recognizes visionary leaders who champion the arts and advocate for theater as an integral part of the well-rounded education. Through his leadership and support, Mr. Townsend has created opportunities for students to grow in creativity, competence, and collaboration, ensuring the arts remain a vital part of our school's community. Congratulations, Mr. Townsend, and all of tonight's honorees. All right. Madam Chair, this concludes recognitions for the evening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Riffle. And once again, congratulations to all of our teachers demonstrating the excellence that is WJCC. We will move on to our next section, 5.02, our support staff spotlight, Faces of the Front Lines.
We are excited this evening to share some of the incredible work that happens in our schools. As you arrive at schools and talk with members of our team, our frontline staff is second to none, and we want to highlight those folks tonight. Let's run the tape.
At WJCC, first impressions matter. Every day, students, families, staff, and community members are welcomed by the frontline, first-class professionals who set the tone, often before a classroom door ever opens. They build relationships, create positive experiences, and reflect the heart of our school division. Throughout the school day and beyond, these caring adults serve as role models, encouraging, nurturing, and motivating our students in subtle but also very strong ways. Let's see how they do it.
When I can call a child by his name or speak to a parent when they walk in, she immediately feels like her child is known and loved and safer. I'll go into the cafeteria and kids will tell me, "Hey, Miss Dillon, my dad fell and broke his leg last night." So when those parents come in, we're sharing stories now that the kids have told us. Now we're family. Now we're all connecting.
A lot of times they like to just come and talk to us and just be able to just open up to us. They understand that we can provide some support for them, and we'll direct them to where they need to go.
I am very kind and spirited. I'm outgoing, so bringing that emotion and energy to school every day really helps the students. If they see me up and energetic, they will get up and energetic.
It's just still that professionalism that you have because you're building character in the kids. You want your kids to be able to kind of mimic what you're doing and how you operate.
To our frontline staff, thank you. Your work every day matters. You are valuable to this organization, you are valuable to our community, and we are grateful for you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Keever, and we really appreciate all of our frontline folks. I know as a parent, as I drop my daughter off in the mornings, seeing those familiar faces at the bus loop, at the at car line, and the way that the kids high five and hug, and you know from the moment that they are boarding the bus or they're walking into school, you could see the adults that are there that care about them. So thank you so much for highlighting this really important group that is a vital part of our schools. We will now move on to 6.01 public comment. Mr. Riffle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is at this point in our meeting where citizens are invited to address the board. Those citizens desiring to speak have submitted speaker cards to the clerk prior to the start of tonight's meeting. These speakers are asked to come to the podium when their names are called, state their names for the record, and direct their comments to the chair of the board. It is the board's interest and desire that all comments are heard and respected. Hence, the citizens are asked not to engage in applauding, verbal outbursts, or any audible demonstrations during the speaker's presentations. Personal matters are not considered in public meetings. Therefore, the board requests that all speakers refrain from making reference to specific individuals in any form or fashion. Though the board does not respond to your comments directly, your comments are heard and appreciated. Each speaker is allocated 2 minutes for their presentation, and the board asks that you respect this time limitation. Also, please be reminded that no time may be yielded to another speaker. Your acceptance and adherence to these guidelines will be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Madam Chair. My directions are concluded. And the first speaker is Darren Poe.
Good afternoon, Dr. Kiever, members of the board, and distinguished guests. My name is Darian Poe, and I'm honored to speak on behalf of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. The Superintendent Student Advisory Council is a group of student leaders from across our school district, brought together with one purpose. As a direct bridge between district and student leadership, we represent a wide range of experience, background, and perspective of our district. But we are unified by one goal: to ensure that student voices are not only heard, but meaningfully considered in the decisions that our district creates. As a council, we have been given the opportunity to provide input on real district decisions, including topics such as building the draft calendar for 26 to 27 school year, reviewing the new rezoning and redistricting plans, and during the recent snowstorm, school operations. These are decisions that directly affect students' daily lives, and being a part of those conversations has allowed us to have valuable perspectives on how you, as a school board, make those decisions. This council is not just a group where students simply sit and listen to the school board talk or Dr. Kiever tells us what to do. This is a student-led council. We speak on critical issues such as school safety, building maintenance, and district-wide curriculum, and how we can improve or fix these things. We have many conversations about these things and many more that I'm not going to list because there's a long list. But one of the most impactful aspects of this council is how all three high schools come together from different regions and different parts of the area, and we all share what we do well at our schools, what we can improve, and how we can come together and share what makes our school better. This council, we gather feedback, we listen.
You can finish, Mr. Poe.
I'm sorry. We gather feedback, we listen, and we discuss, and we bring forward ideas that this council should discuss. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Poe.
I'm sorry, Mr. Poe does not. As much as we want to applaud for guests, we don't applaud. Thank you.
But good job.
Thank you. Congrats. All right. Our next speaker, Susan Franz, and then we'll call the next one is Alan Engelman. Just be right behind him so we can get things flowing.
Good evening. I'm Susan Franz. I'm a community member. I'm not here to debate whether students can hold political views. They can. I'm here because the administration made an ad hoc decision with no clear policy, no written criteria, no consistency to allow students to protest ICE and walk out of school for 15 minutes. When a public school opens its grounds to one political viewpoint, the First Amendment requires equal access to all others. By accommodating this protest, this district may now be obligated to accommodate any student demonstration on any topic on the same terms. That is settled law, and it deserves a serious answer. I'm asking the board to do one thing: establish a clear, written, viewpoint-neutral policy for student political activity on school grounds. Either all demonstrations are treated equally or none are permitted during school hours. Ad hoc decisions are not a policy, they're a liability. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Franz.
Our next speaker is Alan Engelman.
Good evening. My name is Alan Engelman, and I'm here to address tree conservation at the Bright Beginnings Pre-K Center that is under construction at Norge Elementary School. The construction effort has removed many trees, and some of the remaining trees are at risk, and action is needed to save them. The top right corner of the handout that I prepared, I don't know if you have that.
We don't, but the clerk will give it to us.
Imagine that on the western boundary of the construction zone, it's an area where a lot of trees have been removed, and outside the construction zone is a tree protection zone. The purpose of that zone is to ensure that construction equipment does not damage the root structure of the remaining trees. Currently, there's a berm of dirt and debris that has been pushed up from the ground clearing operation that is across the tree protection zone is actually burying the trunk of some of the existing trees. And that really needs to be pushed back in order to save those trees from going under. Another small topic, in that diagram is on there, it shows the position of the existing chain link fence that's on the school boundary. That fence is probably as old as the school is, maybe 60 years old. It's in bad shape, but it is doing no harm. I would suggest leaving the fence in that area, in the forested area, alone, because trying to remove that fence would be difficult without damaging trees that have grown up against that fence over the last 60 years. I understand a new perimeter fence is going to be built. I would suggest that fence be placed on the school side of where the existing trees are, so that putting that new fence in doesn't cause further damage to the existing trees. Now, like I say, there's a part of the map that this is all focused on, and that's where my house is. That's not the only area that may need attention. I would simply encourage you to look at the whole property.
Thank you very much.
Where else needs to be done.
Thank you so much, Mr. Engelman.
Karen Bergesow. And Jay Everson is afterwards.
I'm Karen Bergsockle. Winkfield. Danielle. Dick, almost an invalid. Pompey. Adam. Ned. Old Lucy, an invalid. Old Kate, an invalid. Effie, not much better. Lemon. James. Letty. Charlotte. Frankie. Betty. 2 Geralds. Mr. Bellini's 3. Molly. Mass, and Lucy. Those names were recorded in about 1780 in a list of Negroes at college. James Blair had been dead for 35 years by then. This litany of names of those enslaved by William and Mary is his legacy. These are real people. They lived less than 2 miles from where we now sit. Winkfield, Daniel, Dick, Pompey, Adam, Ned, Old Lucy, Old Kate, Effie, Lemon, James, Letty, Charlotte, Frankie, Betty, 2 Geralds, Mr. Bellini's 3, Molly, Mass, and Lucy. Did you see them? Did you hear their silenced voices? My voice says, please rename James Blair Middle School. No child should have to attend a school honoring the man who enslaved their ancestors.
Thank you, Mrs. Bergsigo.
Jay Everson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jay Everson. You know, in 1960, Martin Luther King was protesting immoral Jim Crow laws in Georgia. He was arrested and put in jail. A few weeks ago, a bunch of our students walked out.
Mr. Everson, hold on, give me 1 second. Ma'am, would you please take those signs down? They're actually not allowed to be displayed during our time of public comment. Thank you very much. Can you restart Mr. Everson's time? I'm asking you to leave the signs up, ma'am, please. They're not allowed.
Can I go?
Yes, please.
Okay. In 1960, Martin Luther King, protesting immoral Jim Crow laws, was jailed. A few weeks ago, a bunch of students walked out of our high schools protesting what they considered to be immoral ICE activities. They did it with immunity and impunity. Now, a few years ago, Google signed a huge contract, defense contract, and a bunch of their employees were fired up, and they were going to do the same thing. Problem is that the management said, well, you do that, and it's been nice knowing you. I think that by allowing this kind of people to disrupt the school for whatever reason, whether good or bad, and without any kind of consequence that you would get if you disrupted school. If my kid disrupted school, he'd pay a consequence. And they disrupted school without consequence. This is not a good life lesson. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Everson.
Dr. Tiffany Hooker. Sorry, Hooks. Sorry. Y'all write real fast, and I can't read it up here, you know?
It's okay. I used to work with Dr. Cavasso, so he looked at me, I looked at him. But good evening. I'm Dr. Tiffany Hooks. I'm also chapter president of Williamsburg Alumni Chapter Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. We're a nonprofit organization of college-educated women committed to public service and the constructive education of its members with a primary focus on the Black community. But I come to you tonight here because we care about what happens in our schools. It shapes the health and opportunity in the future of our entire community. As a clinician, I see every day how closely education and well-being are connected. When students feel safe, supported, and valued, they thrive. But when there are gaps, whether in resources, equity, or access, those challenges follow them far beyond the classroom. We must remain intentional about our creating environments where every student is empowered to succeed. That includes strong academics, access to mental health support, and safe, inclusive spaces where students are encouraged to grow and also lead. As you reflect on decisions about redistricting, I urge you to deeply consider how those choices impact our low and middle income families. These decisions must be made with equity at the forefront, equal access to education, and all of its resources, not just in theory, but in practice. And importantly, our schools must uphold freedom of speech in all its forms. Students should feel confident expressing their perspective, engaging in meaningful dialogue, and learning how to think critically in diverse society. This work aligns with the mission of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority and is grounded in service, advocacy, and the commitment to uplifting our communities. This is not just about education, it's about investment in our children, in our families, and in the future of Williamsburg and James City County. Let us lead with purpose, protect our students' voices, and commit to excellence. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hooks.
Will Ziegler.
Madam Chair, members of the school board, Dr. Kiefer, and members of the WJCC community. I am Will Ziegler, and I would like to discuss tonight the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. We've discussed many issues that have come before many of you as well, including the 27-28 calendar, the Student Voices Tour, which recently came through, and we've given feedback on many of these things too, taking experience with the many experiences that are witnessed throughout the district. Some examples of topics. Well, first I would like to talk about how the process works. We have a group discussion where there's an open conversation where people share a variety of opinions from many perspectives. There is no judgment and people come from different perspectives, but it is all very cordial and very professional. We come up with a variety of issues, big or small, from local scale issues like sensors on sinks and potholes in parking lots, to larger scale issues that I would like to look at slightly. First, one of the most common issues brought up is student leadership, which is an important issue facing our district, and we have a large interest in seeing roles expanded, and we're working on clarifying what that can mean in implementation. We've had many discussions on different aspects of that. Last meeting, we discussed in-depth tardy policies and how disciplinary infractions can be fair, equitable, how punishments should work, and how they should be balanced with time in school. We also have looked at house systems, which are currently being implemented at all 3 high schools and in some other schools as well. We're looking at their effectiveness, how their roles affect the school, and how interest is balanced with perception. We're looking at how we can expand their capabilities and impact. I would like to say thank you, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ziegler. That concludes our public comment for the evening. Thank you all who have come out this evening. We will now move on to Section 7, our consent agenda. I will read the topics and will then ask a member for approval of the consent agenda. Item 7.01, approval of financial report and monthly bills and payrolls for February 2026. Item 7.02, approval of minutes from the regular meeting on 2/17/26. Item 7.03, approval of minutes from the work session. Item 7.04, approval of minutes from the retreat on 3/23/26. Item 7.05, approval of resolutions R-9-26, Month of the Military Child. Item 7.06, approval of resolution R-10-26, School Library Month. Item 7.07, approval of resolution R-11-26, Public School Volunteer Week. And item 7.08, approval of resolution R-12-26, VSBA 2026 Business Honor Roll. May I have a member make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunley. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hosang. Ms. Aller?
Mrs. Hunley.
Aye.
Mr. Riffle.
Aye.
Dr. Cavazos.
Aye.
Ms. Chen.
Aye.
Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Mr. Hosang.
Aye.
Mrs. Donner.
Aye. We will move on to our action items. The first one is 8.01, approval of personnel actions. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the personnel actions as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Hosang. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Chen. Ms. Aller?
Mr. Hosang.
Aye.
Mrs. Hunley.
Aye.
Mr. Riffle.
Aye.
Dr. Cavazos.
Aye.
Ms. Chen.
Aye.
Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Mrs. Donner.
Aye. May I have, our next item is 8.02, approval of the Special Education Annual Plan 2026-2027, entitled 6B, Flow-Through Funds. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the Special Education Annual Plan for the 2026-2027 school year and the Title 6B Flow-Through Funds as presented.
Thank you, Mrs. Chen. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. Mrs. Aller?
Ms. Chen.
Aye.
Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Mr. Hosang.
Aye.
Mrs. Hunley.
Aye.
Mr. Riffle.
Aye.
Dr. Cavazos.
Aye.
Mrs. Donner.
Aye. Item 8.03, approval of purchase request for elementary 4th and 5th grade student laptops. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the purchase request for elementary 4th and 5th grade student laptops from Lenovo using the NCPA/Omnia contract number 01-146 for a total cost of $655,545.
Thank you, Mrs. Chen. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunley. Mrs. Aller?
Ms. Chen.
Aye.
Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Mr. Hosang.
Aye.
Mrs. Hunley.
Aye.
Mr. Riffle.
Aye.
Dr. Cavazos.
Aye.
Mrs. Donner.
Aye. Item 8.04, approval of award of contract for request for proposal number 2025-1153, annual engineering services for WJCC schools. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the award of contract to the firms listed on Attachment A for request of proposal number 2025-1153, annual engineering services for WJCC schools in an amount not to exceed the contract limits established at $750,000 per project and capped at $3 million total per year.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunley. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hosang. Ms. Aller?
Mrs. Hunley.
Aye.
Mr. Riffle.
Aye.
Dr. Cavazos.
Aye.
Ms. Chen.
Aye.
Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Mr. Hosang.
Aye.
Mrs. Donner.
Aye. We'll move on to item 8.05, approval of amendment to FY26 grants fund budget. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the amendment to the FY26 grants fund budget to $7,483,350.
Thank you, Mr. Hosang. May I have a second?
I'll
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Chen. I heard her first. Ms. Aller?
Mr. Hosang.
Aye.
Mrs. Hunley.
Aye.
Mr. Riffle.
Aye.
Dr. Cavazos.
Aye.
Ms. Chen.
Aye.
Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Mrs. Donner.
Aye. Item 8.06, approval of revisions to the 2026-2027 school year calendar. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the 2026-2027 school calendar revisions as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunley. Mrs. Aller.
Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Mr. Hosang.
Aye.
Mrs. Hunley.
Aye.
Mr. Riffle.
Aye.
Dr. Cavazos.
Aye.
Ms. Chen.
Aye.
Mrs. Donner.
Aye. Item 8.07, approval of submission of school improvement plans and grant applications for James River and Matthew Whaley Elementary Schools. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the submission of James River and Matthew Whaley Elementary Schools improvement plans and grant applications to the VDOE as presented.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunley. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hosang. Ms. Aller?
Mrs. Hunley.
Aye.
Mr. Riffle.
Aye.
Dr. Cavazos.
Aye.
Ms. Chen.
Aye.
Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Mr. Hosang.
Aye.
Mrs. Donner.
Aye. Thank you all for that. We will move on to our information discussion items. 9.01, Virginia Peninsula Community College Annual Update.
Madam Chair, I'd like to welcome to the podium Ms. Tracy Wright, who serves as Director of Campus and Community Initiatives at Virginia Peninsula Community College. WJCC is proud to partner with VPCC in our dual enrollment program, and I think that Tracy would like to provide us some information and updates in terms of how we are continuing to partner together. Tracy, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Keever, and members of the board. Thanks for this opportunity. We really appreciate it. My clicker is right
The
there.
clicker's right there. We will help you make sure that it is on.
So we'll get right into it, and thank you so much for your assistance with the clicker. I'm really excited to share with you that over the last couple of years, we've seen an increase in our enrollment. If you follow national trends for colleges and universities, the last 5 to 7 years, many colleges and universities across the country have experienced a decrease. And so we're really excited to be among those that are starting the upward trend in terms of our enrollment. And some of the things that we'll share would be our enrollment by locality, and you can see how James City County, and which obviously includes Williamsburg, is doing. Y'all make up nearly 16% of our student body, and we are very grateful for that and looking forward to seeing continued growth. Reasons that we attribute to our growth include our Fast Track initiative, where we allow students at your high schools to enroll in a day. We have had over 39 events with 457 attendees. We have improved our application conversion rate from 39% in April of 2023 to 58% in April of 25. And for a community college, that's pretty significant. We've also been re-engaging with students who started at the community college but then stopped out prior to graduation. This effort has resulted in us enrolling 936 students with currently 633 in our pipeline. We also have added college navigators and recruiters. These individuals are holding events in your middle schools as well as your high schools, and also participating in community on-site events. And we're also holding open houses, new student orientation, and conducting tours on a regular basis. Something that I hope you've heard about is our Fast Forward funding, which comes from the state of Virginia. This funding has been critical to our ability to deliver our mission by providing Virginians with access to high-pay, high-demand jobs, by providing Virginia's businesses with the skilled workers that they need. The Workforce Credential Grant in Virginia is a state-funded student financial assistance program that covers 2/3 of the tuition costs for work-forward training in local high-demand fields, and enables residents to pay only 1/3 up front, and then the remaining of the cost is covered upon successful completion and certification. If a student doesn't complete, then obviously they're responsible for that 2/3. Since its introduction in 2016, we have seen it grow 127%, and it continues to grow over 20% year over year. Due to our incredible success of the Fast Forward program, the VCCS has exceeded its annual allotment for 4 consecutive years, and VCCS stands for the Virginia Community College System. The system was able to address this shortfall through a budgetary adjustments for fiscal year 2025. However, beginning in fiscal year 2026, budget adjustments were no longer possible, which resulted in less financial assistance to students. These workforce development Fast Forward courses are non-academic, credit, work-based, and workforce training in areas such as allied health, HVAC, information technology, and welding. Program length varies from 2 weeks to 6 months and are designed to prepare students to earn third-party industry credentials with the primary goal of supporting rapid entry into high-demand local jobs. This graph provides an enrollment snapshot by locality based on the student's home address. Not surprisingly, the greatest density of students were in Newport News and Hampton, with William James City County coming in a solid number 3. We anticipate to see growth in each of these areas, and I'm really happy to report that for particularly Williamsburg, James City County, we're about to launch 2 new programs that we think will really benefit local organizations. One is a hospitality training program, and we know hospitality is major here. And then we're also launching a new behavioral health technician assistant course. So we will continue to expand our offerings in order to meet community needs. However, funding continues to be something that we're keeping our finger on the pulse, and we're anxiously awaiting, just as I know everybody else is, the final approval of a state budget. So let's talk about dual enrollment. And I think you probably know dual enrollment opportunities allow high school students to earn college credit while completing their high school diploma requirements. And this is something that has really grown since 2021, and we expect to see this growth continue, particularly given that the Commonwealth of Virginia has now passed a law that requires each high school to offer the uniform certificate of education, which requires that the students that are eligible to participate should earn 30 credits by the time they graduate from high school of college credit, or they can participate in the Passport program, which allows them to earn up to 16 credits prior to graduating from high school while they're towards their college degree. We know that that money helps those families with their child's higher education needs. So as we look at it here, a pie chart that shows our dual enrollment by locality, again, I stress that we are looking forward to seeing growth in this area. We've had a beginning conversations with Dr. Keever about this data, and we're going to continue to meet to talk further. But you can see where Williamsburg, James City County stands. And then if we look at and just pull out the Williamsburg, James City County data, we see that we have had a range from a low of 317 students in 2023, 2024, 2022, 2023 to a high of 363 in the academic year 2023, 2024. One thing I would like to point out is that we on our side have changed the way that we address student addresses. And so prior to our most recent data set of 2024, 2025, they were basing the student addresses based on the high schools that the students attend. But in the 2024-25 academic year, we changed to looking at the student-specific address in order to give us a better picture of how we're doing in terms of serving our entire service area. Something that we all are focused in on, whether it's K-12 or whether it's higher education, is our retention and completion rates. And you can see that we are experiencing a 5% increase in our fall-to-fall retention rates, which is something that colleges and universities look at. If we look at just our degree and certificate programs, we've seen a 4% increase. And then for our fast forward programs, those are those fast, high demand certificate programs, we've experienced a 19% increase in the completion rates. Some of those increases we attributed to focusing more on campus wellness. So we have plans in the next couple of weeks to reopen a wellness center on campus that will allow our students to work out between classes and before classes and after classes. We have athletic programs that we offer students the opportunity to participate in. Our pathways to four-year institutions. We have bridge programs with CNU, ODU, ECPI, and Hampton University and William & Mary. We also have transfer fairs each semester for our students. And then we are really putting some effort into increasing student engagement opportunities for our students and working on career readiness initiatives. The nice thing about students who attend community colleges, they tend to stay in the community in which they graduate from. You see, compared to the students that attend four-year institutions in the state, Commonwealth of Virginia, there's a 57% retention rate of those students that stay in the state. Whereas students attending VPCC, we have a 78% rate of students that remain in our communities. Another important factor is what is happening once these students graduate with their certificates or associate's degree. And what we're finding is that our students are employed shortly after they complete any type of credential at the community college here. We're constantly trying to improve on our physical spaces and make sure that we have state-of-the-art and quality buildings and facilities for not just our students and faculty and staff, but also for the community that come in and enjoy. Some of you might recall in April of 2021, our theater's roof collapsed in, and fortunately it was during COVID, so we had no one inside of the building, so there were no injuries or fatalities. But we were really happy to announce that in January of this year, we had a grand reopening, and that theater is now open, and we have a spring production coming up at the end of April, so maybe you can come over and enjoy that. We also, last January of 2025, opened a Center for Excellence in Early Childhood Development in partnership with the City of Newport News and the Peak Early Childhood Development Center. And if you haven't had the chance to go and tour that facility, I would encourage you to do so. It's amazing to see on our side of the building where the classes are, our students going in and learning and gaining those skills and knowledge to become future educators. And then they can walk just over to the other side of the building and be able to put their skills into practice as they engage in apprenticeships and such at the Peak Childhood Development Center. It's a great model. We've gotten a lot of people coming to check out what's happening there. And then tomorrow, I'm heading to Newport News to celebrate our ribbon cutting of our new trade center that is going up, was done now. Classes will start the first week in April there at that facility, and those are workforce-based programs, largely in marine industrial for our marine industrial base that's centered there. And so there'll be everything from welding to carpentry and those types of skills. And then we're also excited that in the spring of 2029, we'll have a new building that will be built and completed. Right now, if you're driving down 64 to Hampton and you look over to the campus, you see work on demolition going on to take down 2 old buildings that needed to come down. And we're really excited about this new academic building that the college is able to build. But I don't want you just to take my word that great things are happening over at VPCC. I'd like for you to hear from some of our students. So you see on the screen some of their statements, but I'm pulled out a couple more voices that I'd like to share as we conducted our annual student satisfaction survey. So another student whose voice is not on the screen said, "When challenges arise, I feel supported and encouraged to keep going." And then yet another student said, "I wouldn't want to go to school anywhere else. I've enjoyed every professor that I've had over the years, and I take much appreciation into how personable each one has been and how helpful they are." And as administrator whose roots are rooted deeply in student affairs, this is why I do the work I do. It's the students. And I think all of us, whether we're working in K-12, which I did 100 years ago, or we're working in higher education, at the end of the day, it's about our students. And I'm really happy to stand before you and tell you that Virginia Peninsula Community College is on the path to greatness, and we're doing some remarkable things, as our president, Dr. Brandon, would say if she were here. So thank you so much for time and the opportunity to be with you this evening, and I'm happy to field any questions if you have any. And that's the rendering of our new academic building that will be opening in 2029.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wright. I open it up to board for questions. Yes, Mrs. Hunley.
So I don't have a question. Well, I do have a question, but first of all, we've been on 5 workforce field trips together, and you would definitely have boots on the ground. And I also want to say thank you to WJCC, because a lot of our kids, as you know, I always ask them, did you know this was in our backyard? And a lot of the kids don't. And also we heard that only 1 out of 10 of our students were considering going into a workforce. But once they've been on those trips, I think the last time we had 35 kids, and I counted about 10 hands that went up. So I'm looking forward to seeing the numbers really go up, because seeing that we're 5th or 3rd, and it's right in our backyard is kind of confusing. So my only question is, and I'm sure that it isn't this case, but we don't give priority to kids that live here to first register at our campus. So if they don't get in on time, I wonder if the commute all the way to Hampton might deter them. So I was just wondering, what do we do about kids that live here that don't get in and have to drive all the way to the other campus?
That's a great point, and I'll need to research, and I'll get back with you with the correct answer. But I will share with you, the position I'm in is a fairly new position. It's been in existence a little over a year, and it was set to really focus more attention on the HT, Historic Triangle Campus. And one of the things that we're doing, we convene once a month with all of our deans and other key leaders to talk about things that would enhance the Historic Triangle Campus. And one of those things is to talk about what are we offering here. That's been one of the things I've uncovered. So I'm pushing, and I feel like I'm getting some support from our deans to have a more complete offering of courses and degree programs that one could start at the historic Triangle campus and complete. Right now, I would tell you we don't have a full array and an array of offerings that I'm satisfied with.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Other board members? Yes, Mr. Hosang, then Ms. Chen.
I don't have a question. I just want to make a comment. I just want to say thank you for all that you're doing for our students, from getting college prep to the work prep. I know it's a big thing for them. My daughter a few years ago was in the dual enrollment, and I know that helped her get prepared for college. So I just wanted to say thank you for all that you're doing, and to please keep it going.
Thank you.
Ms. Chen.
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to also say thank you, and that I'm both as a board member grateful and as a parent very grateful. I know that I have 2 high school girls in the system, and I know from talking to many families that the early college program and the partnership with VPCC has really made a huge difference for their students. So just wanted to make that known and acknowledge VPCC's partnership with our school system. And then personally, I'll just say that my daughter is in the governor's school, and without a doubt, VPCC is sort of the reason why, like, all of her classes are taught by VPCC at the Hampton campus. So I feel like that is an essential part of that New Horizons collaboration we have with other divisions in this area. So just wanted to mention that and how successful it has been for so many of our students as an option to take advanced mathematics and science courses that they would not have an opportunity to take at their home school. And VPCC has allowed them to have access to graduate level internships, laboratory space, so I just think that when we talk about expanding opportunities, that is an example, a tangible example, and I just want more people in our community to realize that those opportunities are there. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Any other board members' comments? I have a question, and I'm curious. So on slide 7, it shows that York County has tripled their amount of dual enrollment, and we have, at least from the next slide, looks like we have maintained flat. How did they do that?
They have really been focused in, and so they're leaning into the new state law and legislation and making sure that they're offering enough classes for their students to either graduate with the 16 or the 30 credits by the time they graduate from high school. And they've just been very, very intentional. I was at their school board meeting last night, and one of their board members misread the slides and thought that they were in a different position than they are. And they were like, no, we're working really hard on this. And we know we are. But there's been a lot of intentionality, and I'm so grateful that Dr. Keever has already reached out with some dates for our team to come and meet with his team to talk about not just dual enrollment, but other ways that we can strengthen our partnership, and we're very grateful for that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wright.
Thank you.
Any other final questions? All right, thank you so much for coming this evening. We will move on to item 10.01, review of 2026 VSBA Showcasing Innovation Award submission.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the school board, administration brings forward a recommended submission around elevating student voice for impact. We feel like it would be appropriate for WJCC to receive some recognition for elevating student voice, and on your behalf, we would submit this application given approval at your April 1st meeting. So I would encourage the board to give a look to the information that we put together, included in board docs. And if you have any comments or questions or ways for us to strengthen that application, we'd be glad to take those into consideration. We would ask you to vote on it April 1st, and then we would submit certainly before the deadline of April 17th.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Dr. Keever? Okay. If not, we will move on to board member comments. I've been starting with Mr. Hodges for so long. I'm going to start over here with Mr. Hosang, and we'll mix it up a bit. All right.
I guess we can do that then. First, I've got a couple very short comments before I get into some other more lengthier ones, but I just wanted to thank our IT department for, I don't think you guys get enough credit for helping us out and keeping us straight with our laptops and everything. But this is a very minor thing, you guys are going to laugh at this, but one of the things that I like, and I know some of the other board members like, is getting this power cord. So we don't have to plug our own in and have to walk around the tables and try and do that. So we just want to say thank you very much for taking care of us and getting that taken care of for all of us. I wanted to thank the 2 students that came in from the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. I think we all like having students come in and speak to us and tell us what's going on in the school system. Maybe what we can do in the future, Madam Chair, is maybe have them do a presentation as opposed to just doing a 2-minute public comment. Maybe have them do a little bit further, more in-depth presentation for us as to what they're looking into, what some of the issues that they have going forward. So that's just a thought of mine, and thinking that the students might get a benefit from that, and I think we would get a benefit from that also. So.
Noted.
Thanks. Lately, there's been and when I say lately, it's been probably the last year or so, there's been a huge push, as everyone knows, to try and get lacrosse and JROTC into our school system, and make lacrosse the Virginia High School League sport for WJCC. I don't think it's been a secret that I've been a major proponent of both of those. And right now, I think we've got the opportunity to bring both of those into WJCC in the next school year. But it's going to take some lifting from the school board members to get that to take place. I think from our retreat yesterday, one of the first questions that was asked of us was why school systems exist. And what we came up with and what the moderator came up with from that question being asked throughout the country is that we are here to improve the outcomes for students. That was the main thrust of why we have school systems. And because of that, my proposal is that we do everything that we can to bring in JROTC and lacrosse into our school system next year. Currently, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think everyone on this board and the superintendent also is hoping / praying that the state, county, and/or city can provide us more funding so that we can do the things that we want to do and support what we can support. But if not, then what can we do? My proposal or thought process is we just can't sit back and do nothing and just keep kicking some of these cans down the road. So what I'm proposed to the board previously, and I'm just going to throw it out to the public, is currently we're providing our employees with a 3% comp study pay raise. Our employees have not, that's probably not the right way of putting it. Our employees are paid on the lower end of our area for employees. And so a couple years ago, we did a comp study to try to see what we can do to increase that employee pay raise. And one of the things they recommended is increasing it by 3% for, I think, 2 years, and there's another third year in there. My proposal, as opposed to the 3%, is to limit that just to 2.5%. What we've been told in the past is 1% equates to about $1.2 million. So by my math, that would leave us with about $600,000, and that would pretty much cover both lacrosse and JROTC. So that would be my proposal, is that we limit it to 2.5% this year. And by doing that, the employees will lose, and I use that in quotes, they would lose $300 a year by my calculations. That equates to about $25 a month. And we have employees come in here all the time saying that they're here for the children and the students. We're here for the students. So I would recommend that we reduce that to 2.5% so we can fund the other two issues. Last year, the employees received approximately a 5 to 6% pay raise. This year, it's approximately 4.5 to 5% pay raise, and there's some numbers that are going to be different from that. And before all the employees start flooding my email with negative comments, please understand that I am a federal employee. Last year, federal employees received a 2% raise. This year, we received a 1% raise. So I understand what you're going through. I understand that your pay raise may not cover your health insurance. Mine didn't this year or last year. So I understand that. But again, as I started off with, we are here for the students. That's what we are here for as a school system. So I would hope that we could look at that and make sure that we can hopefully fund JROTC and lacrosse next year to do something for our students and to give them what they need to, not just for while they're here in high school, but for life lessons that they would learn. The second issue I want to talk about is I have a couple rhetorical questions I want to ask initially, and is, first of all, are we the top school system in Virginia? And I know that we all believe in certain aspects of WJCC and that we are great, but we are not the top. Second one is, are all of our schools rated as distinguished? And I can say that they're not. And because we can't answer yes to either one of those questions, I suggest that we start putting more emphasis on teaching our students the basics and less on having them outperforming social issues. Now, this is based on the recent walkouts at, I believe, each of our high schools and at least one middle school. I personally believe that this has no place in our school system at this time. There's no legal right for our students to conduct themselves in a walkout. Because if it was a legal right, there are many school systems within the Commonwealth of Virginia, there's many school systems within the country that are not allowing their students to walk out of the schools for whatever reason. And I would submit that we shouldn't allow our students to do such a thing when we can't say that we are one of the top schools in the Commonwealth and that all of our schools are not rated as distinguished. I would submit that not all the students know what they were walking out for. I know, I agree that some of them would, some of them do, but all of them did not. And I can say with confidence from a few years ago when we had a walkout that it was disruption, that was a great disruption to the school system. It was a great disruption to the school classes. Teachers did not continue teaching. Students were not learning. And that's what we're here for, is to teach our students and have them learn. And that was not taking place when the students walk out. And I don't think we are fully looking into these issues when we're asking, or when we're basically allowing our students to walk out. I think up to this point we have been extremely lucky that no one has been injured, that God forbid no one has died. There has been other issues across the country where that has taken place during walkouts. That's the risk that the school system is currently allowing and taking. I can say I'm not willing to take that risk. The real test, I would believe, or I would submit, that is if these students really believed in this cause or whatever cause that they want to do the walkout for, then they can do it before school, they can do it after school, they can do it on the weekends. And I haven't heard of any comments or any times when students have done that recently. So they're only doing it for one reason, and that's to get out of school. They're only doing it for one reason, and that's to my terminology would be to look cool. I've been told that you can't say that anymore. It's now trendy to do that. So I'm just going to say it's it's more trendy to walk out as not to walk out. And as long as our school system supports, condones, and endorses these walkouts, and I know the email that has come out has said that we don't, but when we're communicating with these groups and we're making sure that we have we're making sure of the time, we're making sure of the place, we're making sure that there's security there, I just think that we're risking our school system that something could happen, and I'm afraid that it might happen, and I'm asking that we do not allow this to happen in the future. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hosang, for your comments. Ms. Chen.
I'll just briefly share some of the school visits that I have been on the last couple weeks. This is now my third year, and I never get tired of going into our schools and spending time with our students and seeing all of the amazing things that our teachers are doing and the support staff and our essential staff to educate our students and make them feel like they belong and they are growing and thriving. And so I'll just mention briefly one new thing that I saw, because every time I visit schools, I see an endless list of new learning and ideas and engagement, but I'll list one new thing to share with everybody today. So at Toano Middle School, they were very proud to share, they've really dominated this sports season. This year they have won 2 championships so far, the Bay Rivers football and the basketball championship. So they were proudly displaying those championship photos and the banners right there in the hallway. So if you know anybody that goes to Toano Middle School, just congratulate them on their athletic wins so far. And then one of my favorite places to visit in WJCC is the Restorative Center, which is near Lafayette High School. And I'll just share one new thing I noticed was in the GED program room, there were some students and teachers hard at work working on their GED requirements, and we're looking forward to seeing those students at the GED graduation. But the new thing I noticed was they had a long list of all of the students who are part of the program on the board, and there are some rigorous tests that they have to pass. And for each one that they pass, they get a letter that spells out GRAD. So by the end, they have accomplished, it's sort of like they get to see their progress, and they are going to be a grad. And I also got the privilege, I did double duty with Mr. Riffle. We visited Stonehouse Elementary School and Norge Elementary School. And at Stonehouse Elementary School, we were greeted with a field full of 4th and 5th grade students, parents, family members, all the center's teachers were out there helping. And this was an all day long, whole day event. The whole school, all the grades got to participate. At some point, it was their field day. It was a beautiful day to be out and about. I've never seen so many activities that were available for the students. Everything from dancing to tug of war to also relay races. So yeah, it was just an amazing event to witness. And then lastly, at Norge, there was an airplane in the parking lot. So there was an educator who is also an employee working for Virginia Department of Aviation. So it's a collaboration, and they parked they didn't fly the plane into the parking lot, if anybody's wondering. So that's what I thought at first when we got there, and there was a plane there. It was hitched to the back of a truck. But the kids they opened up the plane, the kids got to take turns sitting in the cockpit, they got to learn about aviation careers and how you can learn to be a pilot, how you can do it recreationally, how you can do it as a profession. And it was just a riveting, I learned so much. I didn't want to leave the presentation. And it just goes to show you that the kids were so engaged. So I forget the gentleman's name who's leading the presentation, but just want to thank him if anybody knows who he is. He was amazing. He was making connections between aviation and their mathematics standards, their literacy standards. He was asking them engaging questions. So it was a great time. And that's all I want to share.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Chen. Mr. Hodges.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate you giving me some time to prep this time around. First off, I want to echo Mr. Hosang in thanking our two students from the Superintendent Student Advisory Council for coming out to speak tonight. I feel like I might be able to leave my committee reports to them in the future if they keep coming out to speak, so that would be awesome for me. Secondly, I want to express my gratitude to the administrative staff who have been working hard to get a handle around the tumultuous weather that we have dealt with this year. Forecasting and modeling the weather is a tremendously difficult job, and it's something that meteorologists don't get 100% right. And when pretty much every meteorologist was saying our area was at risk of severe weather that had an elevated risk of tornadic activity, I personally was comforted that our staff acted with the safety of our students and staff in mind when they decided to close schools that day. And I am thrilled that the weather forecasts didn't come to fruition and that our community didn't suffer the impacts of severe weather like other parts of the country have seen this year. I understand that we all want our students in school learning and to maximize their time in the classroom, but I just want to encourage the community to give our staff some grace when they're trying to make these difficult decisions that ultimately affect the safety of our students and staff. And then lastly, I just want to give a shout out to the local lacrosse community who, as I hear, packed the house at the James City County Board of Supervisors meeting recently. Their continued presence at these public meetings is a testament to the passion and dedication of the students and adults involved to seeing lacrosse become a VHSL sport in WJCC schools. To the lacrosse community, you have sent your message loud and clear to local leaders, and I am hopeful that you will get your wish soon enough. And with that, I conclude my remarks, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hodges. Dr. Cavazos.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. There's a couple things, but I wanted to say that I can second Mr. Hosang's and Mr. Hodges' comments on lacrosse. Of course, that's one of my key things, but there has been a big wave of enthusiasm for the sport, and I want to say thank you to Dr. Keever and his staff and York County's school board for really making good strides towards getting to that goal. And I think that goal will be achieved fairly soon. But the real thrust of my comments were actually something that Mr. Hodges said and something that Mr. Hosek said about computers and those sorts of things. So initially, I need to state that I am particularly naive in the realm of AI and computer operations. So I took advantage of the opportunity to attend several educational sessions on ChatGPT and AI and their ramifications on the students at our recent National School Board Conference. I approached this topic with the certainty that our division has fulfilled all the mandates and directives required by regulating authorities and feel confident that the division remains committed to the proper and ethical use of artificial intelligence. In general, AI isn't good or bad, it's just a tool. Specifically, generative AI is capable of creating original text, images, video, audio. It's not perfect and can provide wrong information, and it has the ability to what they call hallucinate, or essentially fabricate a false response to the request. Oftentimes, one does not know that the answer is false. Another major problem with AI is that it can be used as a conduit for distributing personal identifiable information, or PII. It was stated that 24% of teens have shared PII with AI chatbot. Our students need to be reminded not to share information that cannot be retrieved and is frequently distributed to unsavory sources. Fortunately, our division has strong directives in place to protect student data. but it remains for the parents to remind their children not to share their private information on the internet. Then there's the difficult problem of AI-generated deepfakes. The production of an image, video, or audio created or altered using AI to mimic real people or events. 40 to 50% of students surveyed were aware of deep fakes being circulated in school. 67% of students and 50% of teachers have been misled by a deep fake. Many deep fakes are harmful. The number of reported cases of child exploitation using AI from January to June of 2024 was only 6,835 cases. I say only because in January to June in 2025, 1 year later, the number of cases was 440,419. Classic sextortion involves a perp posing as a teen online and develops a relationship with the target, and then gets the target to send sexual images or videos and then threatens the target unless they pay up. AI sextortion is when the perp finds clean images and videos of the target and creates sexual AI deepfakes of the target and then threatens the target unless they pay up. Unfortunately, 1 in 7 victims reported self-harming or suicidal behavior due to sextortion, which usually occurs within 24 hours after being blackmailed. And males are the biggest target. Finally, 72% of teens have used AI chatbots for companionship. 1/3 of teens find AI conversations as satisfying or more satisfying than human conversations. 1/3 of teens choose AI companions over humans for serious conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, how do we arrive at the point when a machine provides more comfort than the love and respect of parents and friends? Again, on the bright side, AI and ChatGPT are recognized as excellent learning tools, and the adults are responsible for these tools being employed in a beneficial manner and not to the detriment of our children. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman, Madam Chairman.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cavazos. Mrs. Hunley.
So if you all would just revert your eyes back on that beautiful sea of red and white, that is my sorority. That's the alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a sorority of service, and they are here to serve our schools in any capacity that we might need, and I appreciate you all coming out, and it just does my heart joy, and I just want to thank you, first of all, for coming out and staying, and also for Ms. Bergesol and the young man here that stayed to the entire meeting. Second, it is time for the plays. So one of the perks I feel of being on the school board is we get tickets to the plays, which is nice. And so I've got every play that I'll be going to. And you really want to see kids with talent, you'd be amazed. The middle school ones I've seen, the Wind and Willows, they're just phenomenal. So I'm hoping everybody in the community that has a chance to buy a ticket, please do. I was able to go to the Centera Career Day, and that was just awesome. We went to Centera, and all 3 high schools got to hear from different healthcare providers, and then I got to eat lunch with a group of students, and again, they were excited about some of the opportunities and hearing, what kind of certifications they needed to get to be able to provide those. And I'm hoping that those will continue because, of course, we took 20 from each school, and I'm hoping that, other students that might have been interested could go. Also, I'm not going to say every school visit I went on. Another perk is I'm retired, as they know, so I get to pitch hit when people can't make it, so I get to go on doubles. So I don't know if it's more stressful to be at a school on Valentine's Day or Leprechaun Day. So the kids had made all these traps to trap these leprechauns, and that was what their focus was, not on my story, but was there a leprechaun in their trap? So they wanted to check that. But the two new things I saw, one at DJ, I was able to see the Minority Association for Pre-Medical Students at DJ working with 5th grade students on their science concepts. So that was something that was new, that was very interested, and I hope that William & Mary continues with that. And then lastly, well, not lastly, I've been getting letters on lacrosse as well, specifically from children I've taught. And I just always go on the record, I'm not against students having access to sports, and I know one day we'll be bringing on men's volleyball, female volleyball, other things like that. But definitely, there's lots of priorities, and academic achievement is at the highest for me. And then lastly, we had our school board convention, and I wanted to just thank my group of school board team, because I had to celebrate my birthday at the convention, and it was the first time I lost my mother that I hadn't been sung happy birthday to by my mother. They did not know how much it made me feel, get through that day. And they wouldn't even let me buy anything. They're like, Miss Donna ran because I went to buy these chocolates. No, we're going to buy those for you. So they made me just feel very special, and I just wanted to thank each of you to say that that's probably the second best birthday that I had. And so, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunley. Yes, Mr. Riffle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm trying to keep it together, Ms. Hunley, so, you're like a mother to me, so. I want to start with some apologies. I'm just a guy who is learning how to do this job. This is my first term, and one a principal, so I know when I'm wrong. You actually are allowed to hold signs, and I am deeply sorry to the lady who was holding the sign earlier. I'm also sorry, Madam President, for pronouncing your name wrong. That is very, you are a woman, you're a dignified woman out there, so, but, I would also like to apologize to Mr. Everson for interrupting his time, during his remarks. Yes, so you learn something new every day, and you should maybe ask your chair if you can do those things before you do them. So, into the next thing, I like student opportunities. This is something we've heard a lot of tonight. I believe in student opportunities as well. I believe in all facets of student opportunities, even if they are uncomfortable. I think students have the right to do things in a schoolhouse that they should do in the real world. Where I work, people get things wrong all the time. And I wish they learned it under a schoolhouse, where people could ask their principal what it's like to do an activity that might not be in school, or how to go about doing these activities the right way. And I believe our division is taking those up in the right mantle. You may not like what is happening in those same activities, but those opportunities are available to all of our students through the right channels. There are instances we've talked about in leadership where you can do those things wrong, and you can turn people away, and then it's not the right thing to do for students. Students should be able to learn when they're asking for an opportunity, just like lacrosse or JROTC. I am supportive of those measures. I just understand there are things that we also value in those things as well, like how would I pay a teacher less and then ask them to go coach lacrosse? That doesn't make much sense to me. Like, I'm just a guy who just believes in math and believes in asking people to do more with less is never something useful. So that's part of my little world tour on that one. But I think our students can appreciate it. I hope our public can appreciate it. We are doing a good job in our division to balance the scales here, to work hard for our educators work hard every day on things like field day is not every day. They told us that when we arrived at school. Ms. Chin and I were like, what? We've never seen a field day. Usually we just walk around and interrupt classes, and maybe we're more interrupting than some of the activities that happen, I think. But that was cool. I think and the reason why they're doing it earlier, Ms. Chin did not talk about it, was that they believe it's better to do it now when it's cooler out, and also before the SOLs. Like, it's not a reward for SOLs, right? It's a reward for learning and being a team, and they believe it's a good time for their students to go about this business. So Stonehouse is training some things, and I can appreciate what their perspective on that. And they also have a very large school, so I'm commending them doing that, for a full day was very insightful, and the students, I've never seen so many students dance in my life like that, so it was pretty sick. I've also been holding my books and reading them at my house. I've been practicing like this because Ms. Huntley and Dr. Cavazos and I have been doing Read Across America Month, and that has been fun. I read at JBB and at Matilka. I did not make the DJ today, but it's been especially special. I remember when I was in school, not too long ago. I'm just kidding. No, but I remember people reading to me. My friends' parents would come in, right? You got someone who sat on the porch. You see them at school when you're on the bus, and they would come and read. Like, it's just people you want to see, in our schoolhouse, and that's been fun. I've never really been that person for anybody. Like, I've never been to a school, and I think I wear a suit and stuff, and people ask me what I do, and sometimes I'm asked if I'm Dr. Keever, and that's not real. I'm not him. He wears blue suits, but it has been really exciting to be appreciated in that way, but also know that I think it's valuable for teachers to see us in buildings doing the work with them a bit. I sat in a class, which I don't know if I'm supposed to tell this, but which is why I probably received all these little cards. I was there for just to read to their class in a learning cottage, and then they invited me to play this game called 20 Questions, and then they wanted to do 20 questions about myself after. 20 questions is about you basically take something in the room, and then the students use context clues in which to guess the item that's in the class. So I chose the American flag because it's above their heads and they wouldn't think about it. And I did get all my questions through. About the 19th question, they figured it out. But then they did 20 questions about, what does a school board member, what do I do for a living? What video games do I play? Thing is that students in the 3rd grade would ask. And so that was really fun. I'm sure their students, appreciated it. But it's been I don't know. I went today. We did a round robin. The principal let us loose, and they said read to the whole 1st grade, and then after they moved to the centers, go to the next grade. And we did that for an hour and a half, and I ran out of pencils. That was kind of sad. So no one got gifts after the 3rd class, but it's been cool. And I think that has been the most special part of being a school member is having a job that allows me to do those things first off, but also having an opportunity to see students that look like me, and who could be encouraged like that, and that's why I go to the visits. And it's also been cool to join Ms. Huntley in doing the policy committee, so you guys can be excited next month for our first run through. I think Dr. Keever is trusting us a bit with 4 items or something, so but we'll ramp it up for you soon, and we're learning to run the gig, and it's important to take on new roles in the board, and to, even though I do it for a living, it's a little different running for schools and hearing from Dr. Brown in certain ways and Mr. Snipes, and hearing their reasons for behind why we should change some policies or weighing things out and wax things in. So I've been that's been a fun 2 weeks since being back and getting into it. I know Ms. Huntley has done it more than all of us, but it's good to join my colleagues in that stuff and encourage our students. And so thank you to our students again. I think I left the committee in good hands with Mr. Hodges. You seem to do the reports a lot better than me when I did it. But they seem excited to have us there and to hear about really complicated things that do involve the public's opinion, and our students should weigh in because they're often not at the table, right? If you're not at the table, you're probably on the menu, and often that's what students are that feel that way. And it's good to hear from our students, and they do talk to their friends, and they are our most important part of doing this. So their opportunities are what we look forward to, and I'm excited for them. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Riffle. I will keep my remarks brief, as we did have our retreat as well as spending time together in Louisville. And I learned it's Louisville. You have to swallow all of your vowels. It's not Louisville, Louisville. But I think one of the important things that we talked about as a board yesterday was how do we model the discourse on this dais that we want our students to model. And I think tonight was an example of how you do that. I appreciate Mr. Hosang bringing forward an idea and having the courage to bring that to the forefront and putting out an idea that's out there. I appreciate Mr. Riffle owning up to a mistake and to have the forthrightness to correct the mistake as quickly as possible, and that we're all learning, and the board to show him grace. And so I think those are the things and the lessons that we want our students to learn. And so how we model that as a board, how we talk about conflict, how we have conflict. Conflict is healthy. because it allows us to grow and learn and see other perspectives. And so I just appreciate what the board has done here this evening and in other conversations that we have. All of my other colleagues have taken all the fun talking about all the places they visited, so I'll just say me too. I've enjoyed those things. And we will move on to setting our, on to the next bit of our meeting where we will talk about our next set of our meeting schedule. So item 12.01, upcoming events. The Career Ready Advisory Committee is on April 14th, 2026 at 3:30 p.m., room 300 in the annex at the school board and central office. The Special Education Advisory Committee, 4/14/26 at 5 p.m. in room 108 at the school board and central office. The School Liaison Committee, 4/17/26 at 8:30 a.m., room 309 in the annex at the school board and central office. And Policy Committee, 4/20/26 at 8:30 a.m., room 203 at the school board and central office. Our upcoming meetings are a closed session on, note the date, it is a Wednesday, April Fool's Day. It is not a joke. We are going on April Fool's Day for the second year in a row. Maybe there will be pranks, who knows? But closed session 4/1/26 at 4 p.m. in room 300 in the annex of the school board and central office. Our work session and action items 4/1/26 at 4:30 p.m. room 300 in the annex at the school board and central office. Closed session 4/21/26 4 p.m. room 200 in Berkeley Middle School. And our regular meeting 4/21 6:30 p.m. Berkeley Middle School auditorium. We are